All right, hello again, everybody. Once again, since I'm coming at you from University of Washington, going to briefly go over this land and waters acknowledgement statement. So, we acknowledge that we work and live on the traditional unceded land of the Coast Salish peoples. University of Washington's Friday Harbor Laboratories acknowledge the Coast Salish people of this land where we teach, research, and learn, land which touches the shared waters of all tribes within Lac Temish, the Kwungen, Swinomish, Semiahmoo, Samish, Tsoke, Saanich, and Tskallam, and we pledge support for Coast Salish people of our community and seek meaningful connections to protect our shared environment. Next slide, please. Yes, so today I am talking about very casually some of the hands-on marine science that I have helped facilitate at San Juan National Historical Park. So this is coming from my role as the Friday Harbor Labs Scientific Outreach Program Assistant and some other roles because I wear many hats here on San Juan Island. I also have worked for a group called Salish Sea Sciences as their science director, but I'll get into that in a minute. So next slide, please. Yes, basically San Juan Island, super unique place. Among the San Juan Islands, there's a lot of different educational programs running out here. I'm involved with specifically two of them, but I've certainly interacted with and bumped into more and more of them. So there's summer camps, there are partnerships in the classes in the schools out here. There's internships for people who are of high school age in a variety of different positions. And there's a lot going out here and a lot of opportunities for young people, middle school, elementary, middle, and high school to get out and actually do science out in the intertidal zones around this island. So yes, like I said before, I work for two of them. Next slide, please. So basically, another kind of basic background stuff is that the Salish Sea out here is a really incredibly biodiverse ecosystem, both in the marine waters around the islands and, of course, also on land. So there's a lot of conservation, research, and science just happening out here in general. I have a picture up here of Friday Harbor Labs, which is actually where I'm sitting in right now. In the library that's just out of shot of this picture. And so there are plenty of organizations and researchers and professionals who are out here studying both the marine ecosystem and the terrestrial ecosystems. Next, please. So San Juan Island is really different from the other islands in the San Juans in that it has significantly more intertidal access than any of the other islands out here. So we have beach access and rocky intertidal access on all sides of our island and miles of this coastline. One of the most important places for all this is, in fact, San Juan Historical Park. Like I mentioned in my presentation earlier, there's 4th of July Beach on the eastern side of northeastern side of San Juan Island, and then on the south and western side there is the American Camp, sort of more rocky intertidal area going down to South Beach and on. So all this beach access actually gives students and young people and really everybody around here actual opportunities to interact with not just like rocky tide pool ecosystems, but also these soft sediment systems such as the one at 4th of July Beach. Next, please. So with some of that background out of the way, I can talk again a little bit more about 4th of July Beach. So as you may know from previous talks on and about 4th of July Beach, 4th of July Beach is a shallow and fairly sandy beach, at least when you get out further into the intertidal area. And it actually has intertidal eelgrass beds, and unlike a lot of the some of the other beaches out here, it's super easy to access. And it's a lot of the beaches out on San Juan Island are really rocky pebble beaches or more of like a rocky intertidal area. So 4th of July Beach is really special in the communities that it actually has for students and other people to study. So one of the places that we are able to take students to go check out the 4th of July Beach is through the FHL Scientific Outreach Program, which is, next slide. Yes, the program that I spend a lot of my time working for here at FHL. So this is a long-running educational partnership between Friday Harbor Labs and the San Juan Island schools. We have programming running for every different year of school in the grade schools, both in the public schools here, the elementary, middle, and high schools, and the Spring Street International School. So some of our labs here have 20-year-long data sets that are actually used by scientists and professionals around the island. But the specific lab that we end up taking students out to, the San Juan Historical Park, is the next slide, please. The 6th grade intertidal exploration lab. So this is one where we take, it's designed to get the students in the schools here familiar with the invertebrate ecosystems around San Juan Island in the Salish Sea. So we will take in a wide selection of different phylum of invertebrates into the classrooms of the middle school and bring in a bunch of FHL undergrad students who are taking usually the Zoobot course and have them posted at each station and letting them talk through and learn about these organisms. This is, of course, building up to a experience where we take them out to a rocky shore and a soft sediment habitat to actually find these organisms for themselves. So next slide, please. Where we go to take them for a soft sediment exploration is actually at 4th of July Beach. So we go somewhere else for rocky shores, and then we kind of like the culmination of their 6th grade FHL SOP programming is to go to 4th of July Beach and to look for some of the organisms they learned about. So they're given data sheets. FHL undergrads are also at the beach to help facilitate the thing and provide expertise that they're actually learning in their classes and learn how to like do science education. And they have like a data sheet, and they're going out and they're doing like a scavenger hunt for different organisms. And then they also will dig for the type of organisms that live beneath the surface. So next slide, please. So yeah, you can see them here. They're digging some holes and trying to get a sense of how many organisms are in each little spot, talking about these different types of mollusks and clams and worms that actually live below sediment, the bioturbators, etc., that most people don't really think about, because a lot of kids, of course, their experience with looking for organisms in the intertidal is tide pooling. But for them to actually understand these sandy beaches actually have a lot going underneath is kind of really a cool experience for them that they find really exciting. So there's lots of good stuff underneath the sediment here at 4th of July Beach. Next slide, please. Yes, so that's the big one that we do with the FHL K-12 program thing. But the other program that I work for out here is a summer high school marine science summer camp. And we also utilize San Juan National Historical Park for that program as well. So Salish Sea Sciences is right now a 4 to 2 week long summer program for high school students from all over the country, and the different lengths of classes kind of dictates what kind of project they'll end up doing. But basically, it's an opportunity for students who are interested in marine science to actually come out, meet researchers from FHL, and go out and help them with data collection in the field. But before we get to that, we usually do a couple of activities to get them familiar with the different ecosystems around the island, because not all of them are from even Washington. A lot of them are from the East Coast, other parts of the country. So yeah, the big thing is the project actually culminates in a research project. So they have to know about the different spots around the island and where they want to situate their project. Next slide, please. Yeah, so we start off with an ecosystem introduction, where, kind of similar to that 6th grade project I was talking about before, we will try to get them, situated with the different type of ecosystems, a rocky shore and a soft sediment one. And we do the same thing where we go out to 4th of July Beach and kind of get them familiar with the amount of diversity that's even under a soft sediment system. Next, please. So then they start moving into, after they've met with a bunch of researchers and helped out with projects, they will start moving into actual research projects. So these are like undergraduate level, if not like style things, projects where they actually have to design their project, their procedures, and do a poster at the end. So some of the students from this last summer actually utilized 4th of July Beach. One was looking at eelgrass wasting disease resiliency and taking samples of eelgrass from different sites and introducing it to infected eelgrass in not on the beach, but in a lab setting. So they collected some eelgrass from 4th of July and found the relative resiliency of these different eelgrass species. Another student was actually looking at the for bioindicators of salinity along 4th of July Beach. Next slide, please. And this is what her poster actually looked like. And members from the professional and scientific community came and took a look at this and talked to her about her project. So she took samples, soil samples and sediment samples from 4th of July Beach and looked to see if there was an indication of like saltier spots had more or less algae. Next slide, please. And then these students have also helped with the eelgrass restoration. So they were actually out and collecting eelgrass flowering heads for the next year's restoration project. So this is them out collecting eelgrass. I think this is out on Shaw Island, but this is seeds we'll be using this upcoming spring to restore further eelgrass habitat. Next slide, please. And then, of course, a big part of this is actually having these students meet professionals and in the field of conservation and science. So, of course, we went to National Historical Park and got to meet some of the fine folk that work there, and they got us walking around and meeting the people, talking about how the terrestrial ecosystem impacts the actual marine ecosystems and how that's all interlocked there. So, and learning about how they can get involved and get into a job in conservation and science themselves. Next slide, please. So that's it. And this is actually a picture of them bailing out a tide pool for one of our researchers. Crazy thing. So that's kind of it for me. So if anybody has any questions about how we're doing educational science down in the historical park, let me ask away.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Adam. Really appreciate that. Gosh, that intertidal site looks pretty familiar right there. So I have a question about that site, but Bob Vedas does have a question about is the marine biota of 4th of July Beach more like we see here in Puget Sound?
That's
sure
interesting.
What he's referring to, but yeah.
I mean, it's probably similar in that it's the same body of water. The 4th of July Beach is on kind of it's all like above the Strait of Juan de Fuca, but depending on whether it's a sandy or rocky place, if it's a nice sandy-ish beach, it's probably fairly similar.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. I do some work in that park, and that side of it particularly, which is less sort of open ocean with regards to the Strait of Juan de Fuca, it's a little bit more protected, so it is much more characteristic, I think, of at least some of northern Puget Sound and Salish Sea. Okay, well, I don't want to forestall a conversation here, but we are officially past time right now, so I want to respect folks who are thinking that they need to get out of here. But Adam, thanks a lot for your talk.